Hey everyone, Kim here. Thank you so much for joining me. We're doing a cards analysis of the readings that I did. I did 3 readings for the case surrounding the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And we had some developments happen in the last few days. And it's always just interesting to touch base to see what are the updates, right? And then to look at what the cards were saying, especially those cards that had me kind of like, what does this mean? And so we'll look at those cards. And before we do all of that, I do want to share a quick update video, like it's a news broadcast out of Los Angeles. And it's like a 3-minute video. And I may pause it from time to time to chime in on some thoughts. But we'll go ahead and do that first, and then we'll just jump in and do the cards analysis. I won't keep y'all here all day because we don't need to do all that. The readings speak for themselves. I always date or say the date of when I recorded the reading, so we kind of have a point of when I was pulling cards and where we are today. This live stream is on Monday, November 24th. 2025. Okay, so I'm going to get into it and do that now. So let me get into sharing. I hope I can do this. I don't think I've ever shared a video. Usually it's just me and me. But we're going to do this because the news broadcast was how would I say this? It's succinct. It's like 3 minutes long. I'm not going to do the TMZ one. The TMZ is who broke the latest updates on Celeste's case. If you don't know, Celeste was 14 years old at the time that she was found in the frunk of a Tesla vehicle. That Tesla vehicle was registered to the, musician. I don't know what we want to call him. Musician David. And now some things have come out. For example, her body was found dismembered. And I have to say viewer discretion is advised if you're watching this live stream. And it was in advanced stages of decomp. And now it came out that the body was thawing out. It was frozen at one point. So the cause of death has not been determined, and it may end up ultimately being undetermined, which came out in my readings that I did. It is something that I was worried about. I know some of you all probably were worried about that too, because why? We want justice for Celeste. I myself have a daughter who is Celeste's age, or have a 14-year-old girl. And whenever cases surrounding teenagers or children come about, it really just tugs at you, because it's like it just feels so unfair, right? So yeah, we're gonna do that. Hi friend, thank you for joining me. Yes, we are gonna do an update. We're gonna watch the video first, so that way we get caught up to speed. And then we'll just look at some of the cards, especially the cards that I was like, what does this mean? One card that comes to mind is the rural country card that came up in my part 1 of the reading I did. And I was like, why would this card come out? Because he was residing in Los Angeles in a neighborhood, right? In Los Angeles, for the most part, is metropolitan or suburbs, what have you. So come to find out, law enforcement has been looking at a particular trip that David allegedly made back in spring to Santa Barbara County, a remote area in Santa Barbara County. And I've personally never been to Santa Barbara County. My partner, my husband, went to UC Santa Barbara, and he was able to kind of bring me up to speed. Like, there are tons of remote areas out there. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's why that card came out. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So I'm going to put up this video here. Hopefully it works. If not, I have the news article that's associated with it, and I can just read it to us, read it. But it might be easier to just do the video. So let me share the screen. Y'all know I have to talk it out. I have to talk it out. Okay, now I want to make it bigger. If you can hear it, let me know. Like if you can't hear it, then I'll do something different. So, okay, let's get into it. We're going to press play.
15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found in the front trunk of singer David's impounded.
I need my... Well, I'm going to let her play.
Tesla in September.
David was officially identified as a suspect in the teen's death this week.
If you can hear the video, let me know.
Detectives have identified a second suspect.
Otherwise,
Lindsay Pena, live in our news center with the latest on that. Lindsay?
Rick and Corinne, this is the second major development in this case this week. Back on Tuesday, a source was able to confirm
Thank you for letting me know
that singer David is being named as a suspect, as you mentioned. The body of the Lake Elsinore teen was found September 8th in the front trunk of David's Tesla, impounded at a Hollywood tow yard. David was on tour at the time, but police now believe Hernandez was killed last spring. The medical examiner reported she had been dead for an extended period of time. Just yesterday, the case was updated in the medical examiner's website. The cause of death had been listed as deferred for weeks. Information to determine the cause of death. Our request to the medical examiner's office for more information hasn't been answered yet. Now there are reports of a second suspect being named.
Okay. Before we get too far into this, I do want to say that right now the COD, cause of death, is, I guess they're keeping it under wraps, but I guess TMZ had released that it's going to be ultimately determined that it's undetermined. And so, yeah, that could definitely pose a problem down the line if we're trying to prosecute a case. Yeah, so just wanted to chime in on that. Let's go.
That information coming from attorney Mark Garagos, who is not connected to the case, but says he's talked to people close to the investigation, and they've told him this person could be involved before, during, and after her death.
I think what law enforcement is focusing on right now is they're trying to determine locations, and they have.
Yeah, I saw that the signal is going in and out. If it's still doing that, then I'll just read the article because it's probably just easier for me to do that. But basically, in a nutshell, they have, let me stop sharing for a moment. Where is it? Let me remove this. They have identified a second suspect, and there could be more folks who have helped along the way before, during, and after, what happened to Celeste. So that's important. They are saying, TMZ is reporting that there was a freezer in the rental home of David's that was large enough to house body parts. Although, I mean, who's to say if it's that freezer, right? And this is all alleged. I have to go in and say that everything's alleged because, yes, TMZ has a report that David is looking like the suspect and they've identified a second suspect, but until officially they're named a suspect and until they're officially prosecuted, everything's alleged, right? So there's that. Then there's the piece of there was a big question mark on was she actually dismembered or was she not dismembered? Because they were saying that, when you're in advanced stages of decomposition, sometimes it can look that way, that your body parts fall apart. I believe all along that it was a dismemberment, because I'm going to share this with you all. I think I mentioned it before. When I was in high school, I took a physiology class, and we went to University of California, Davis campus as a field trip. And we went to, we got to see cadavers, human cadavers. And I got to see various stages of decomposition and also how parts look. It's almost like when you go to a butcher and how when they cut certain parts, you can tell, in my opinion, if it was dismemberment or not. So when the tow truck folks were coming out early on, when Celeste was first discovered in the vehicle or in the frunk back in September, they said it was looking like a dismemberment. I believe that. And then all of a sudden the story started to shift and change to, oh, maybe she wasn't dismembered. But no, it's worse than we possibly could think of. Like, it's exactly actually how we thought it was in the beginning, but the story has shifted and changed over time. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know, friend. So, I mean, I can continue to share it, but it's bad. And some people are questioning why law enforcement hasn't arrested him yet. This isn't a slam dunk case as it would appear on its face, right? It's not. It just isn't. Yes, she was found in his vehicle, but you've got to establish a timeline. Now we have the wrinkle of the cause of death. We have all of that at play here. And he also, I hate to say it, he's a flight risk. He has the means to leave. If he's scared enough, he's young, he's in his early 20s. He might be frightened enough to leave. And so it's easier to just paint a picture like we don't suspect anything, or we think it's one way and it's not. I see why law enforcement moved the way they did. I'm just going to say that because that's the truth of the matter. Like, if you follow true crime, and I have for many, many years, if not decades, you know how law enforcement has to move in certain cases because it could cause problems. The other thing about this news report is that that attorney, I forgot, Garagos, the attorney, he's always all over TMZ, but he said that, how did he say? He said that David has been under surveillance by law enforcement, that he has a reliable source that says he's been under surveillance. So then there's that extra layer of having to investigate the case going forward, collecting evidence as we move forward from present day into the future, not just looking at evidence in the past, but also watching what David does as he's moving in his daily life. You know, who's he trying to talk to? What are the bank records and cell phone records saying to date? Is he trying to leave? All of that. So it's complicated. As much as I wish we could just hurry up and get an arrest done. And I think it's all in timing. The other thing I think that's going on here, which is super important, is because of that undetermined cause of death ruling that's going to probably be coming down the pike. Law enforcement wanted to shake things up by putting this out there. And they use the media. You know how they do. They use the media strategically. They planted that this past weekend, and they want to make that person who was aiding and abetting, they want to make that suspect a little nervous because they might not have the means like David to flee. And so that was all a part of the plan. That was all a part of the plan. And so I get it. Yeah, they're all quiet. And thank you for bringing that up, my friend. Thank you for bringing it up because they was making a lot of noise when it first came out. And the one thing that really bothered me about him is everybody saw with our own eyes that he was hanging out with Celeste. Not once did he offer condolences. Not once did he offer the family any kind of like help, as far as we can see with her funeral expenses. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But we got a lot of noise about, you know, this or that in the beginning. And the other thing is to be mindful of is his record company, Interscope Records, was making hand over fist since this whole story broke out, because everybody's listening to his song, you know, and watching the song lyrics and looking at his videos, and he's building this notoriety, and they're still making money. He's still making money probably off of his other little products and things. I see he had a shirt for sale for like $178. He ain't missing no money, even though he had to cancel his world tour. Okay, so they had a lot of little stuff to plant in the whole atmosphere about her family. She's a runaway, like she ain't deserving, or her family isn't deserving of justice. And that really bothered me. That really bothered me. I'm just going to say it. Yes, it would have been nice if it was, you know, like she wasn't a runaway. Her family could be more involved, all of that. It doesn't negate the fact that she wound up in a frunk of a Tesla, dismembered. That just burnt me up. And so now all of a sudden, like you pointed out, just quiet as a church mouse. Now they just quiet. Yeah. Didn't offer to pay for funeral of a person that was in his car. And I get it. I understand, you know, legally speaking, criminally and civilly, that he don't want to admit anything. But we all saw the live streams. We saw that you had a relationship with her. There's surveillance at the amusement park. I forgot the amusement park down in Southern California. We saw that you took her with her cousin to the amusement park. You were there. You were in her life and you had nothing to say. Not that that's going to change my mind about you, but decency. Then you're moving money, or not money, but real estate from your name to your mama's name. Now, again, I understand that civilly her family could go after him. Criminally, you know, I don't know how that shakes out, but civilly, I understand. My background understands that completely. But there's a human decency thing. And it just, I'm sorry. It bothers me. If you don't know, like that, it's just on so many levels, it's just so wrong. Just so wrong. So with all that being said, I'm going to try again to finish Mr. Garagos's point. I'm going to see if I can share it. But if not, then we'll just go on with the cards analysis. And then I'll put a link in the description box of this news thing. It's only 3 minutes long. It's not long. And there's probably, with TMZ, they were the ones who broke this story. And so then all of the news stations have picked it up. So you can go to TMZ and get more details and whatnot. But I didn't want to deal with TMZ. Sometimes I have a problem with them too. I'm feeling away. Our power went out. If y'all didn't know, I'm in the Dominican Republic. I am from California, born and raised, but I am an expat in the DR. And we had a power outage from 2:15 in the morning until like 11 something in the morning. And so I have a straight attitude. So I probably should have rescheduled this live. And that's probably why the Wi-Fi is a little shaky too. I just couldn't, but I just had to get this off my chest because it bothers me. It freaking bothers me. Ugh.
Reverse engineered. They obviously know when they found the car. They obviously know when they discovered the remains. They now are reverse engineering the movements of all those who were involved. Mm-hmm. And they've done it in a very sophisticated way.
Garagos and Harvey Levin of TMZ both confirming independently that investigators are looking closely at a trip that David took to a remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night last spring. At this point, one former LAPD detective we've spoken with says David is likely under surveillance, and all of these developments could mean an arrest is coming soon. High profile.
Uh-oh.
This is a high-profile case with a lot of eyes on the LAPD, and they don't want to get it wrong. They should not have to be in any type of a rush because there's no statute of limitations on a murder case, if this is in fact a murder. And the coroner has yet to release the manner of death or the toxicology reports.
As of now, there have still been no charges and no arrests in this case. In the News Center, Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Lindsay, thank you.
Okay. What is this? Okay, there we go. So I'll share that in the link, the little news thing, along with the news article. But yeah, it's just annoying to me. Like TMZ is the only one. So it also, on one hand, it's like, oh, why is it only TMZ? But on the other hand, I guess that's where we're at. TMZ is the one breaking the story, and they must have the links and the hookups and the inside connects. But it does bother me too. I have to admit as well. It's like I would like a press conference. I think that I think this case was deserving of it. Even if you just can't answer everything, I get that, but I feel like she was deserving of a press conference. Her loved ones are deserving of that. The community is deserving of that, you know? That's how I feel. So, yeah. So now we're going to get into this card's analysis. Yeah, the whole thing with TMZ being the one is annoying. So now I'm going to share. Oh no, it's like always trying to figure out how to share. Is it sharing? I can't tell. No, it's not sharing the one I need it to. Let me do this. I want to make sure I share the right thing. I'm a little rusty, if you can't tell. I'm a little rusty. I haven't been live in a minute. Okay, so we're going to get into this. Disclaimer for Mystery Mystic Mondays and Musings. Remember, folks, this is a conversation about facts, theories, opinions, experiences, and paranormal hunches on the featured subject. It is not intended to prove or disprove anything related to any investigation or potential charges. Please do not contact, harass, or intimidate anyone discussing this video. Everyone referenced in this video, including David, is considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Not the court of public opinion, but a court of law. I hope you're settled. Let me not rush through that. Get comfy. If you're watching us on the replay, I appreciate you being here and dealing with my tech issues. Y'all know the struggle is real. I hope you have a beverage, and we're going to look at some cards, okay? Oh, there she is. Just as beautiful, and there he is. Sorry. He just bothers my soul. Okay. So I wanted to, I have my guidebook here. So some of the cards I wanted to point out to you all was the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, because usually those cards, when I do an opening oracle reading, they really lay it all out, lay it down. And honestly, I could probably stop with just these set of cards that's pictured here. But you know, I got a ton of decks. I love to just keep digging and exploring. But the time card is so interesting to me. Let me go there. So time, the key meaning, pressure, deadlines, life passing by, and aging. And when I saw aging, when I did this reading, I saw aging out. So allegedly, David started, chatting with Celeste when she was young. I mean, we're talking, we'll say between 11 and 12, 13-ish, probably 11 and 12. So she's young. And it was like through Discord, I believe, allegedly. And it was surrounding Roblox. And it struck me like, did she age out? Was she getting older? Was she getting a little too adult-like? And then we have the heart card. Now, sometimes the heart can be literally about a physical heart, the anatomical heart, but oftentimes it is speaking about matters of the heart, right? We are talking about, let's see, that's card number 11, strong emotions, affection, love, and compassion. Maybe over time, he was growing in love towards her, vice versa, she was towards him. And then the flower card. The flower card, I watched my video part 1 yesterday, and it just broke me because this is a fresh cut flower. And you know how fresh cut flowers only have usefulness for a little while, right? It's super beautiful. And depending on when you trim a flower, you know, when it's first budding, you want to probably ideally trim it when it's like got its first little bud, so you have more time for it to blossom. But eventually it dies and it's no longer useful. And that hurt me because I wondered, I'm like, is that what was going on here? Let's look. The rose or flower card is beauty, kindness, gifts, blossoming abilities, or potential. And I show this to you. This is the guidebook, right? I show this to you because I like to look at the book meanings when I do the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, as well as my own interpretation. Some people get frustrated with my reading style. And to that I say, there's plenty of readers and psychics and mediums. You know, I'm not gonna appeal to everyone, because part of what I'm doing is wanting to educate people on how I work with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle or my reading style. Maybe one day I don't want to do readings anymore, but I want to mentor and educate others in how I do them, so they take it off and do it in their own way, right? So it's not just for entertainment purposes. I have a method to my madness here. But yeah, I got a comment on a video. I forgot, it was a missing persons when they're like, this isn't a reading. I'm like, okay, fine. It ain't for you, and that's okay. This pentagram card says humanity, the sum of a lifetime of choices or material gain. When I saw the pentagram, I said, someone lost their humanity. And I feel that way. If you can lay up with this beautiful girl, allegedly, spend all this time with her, pay for her way since she was a runaway, and then you can, whatever caused her to lose her life, and then you can dismember her, you, my friend, not really my friend, you, my dude, have lost your humanity. That's how I feel. So that card also chilled me to the bone. Speaking of bone, then we have the bone card. I don't know if this, yeah, oh, it does go that far. Because the thing about the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle is it started as a small little deck, and then the creator built over time, like added more and more and more cards. So it was like an 84 card deck. And so then we had to get like the guide pages and stuff like that. And then, so then I made this little book. So bone, mortality, leaving something behind, having something to hide, and strong foundations. Leaving something behind, having something to hide, and literally cutting through somebody's bone. Yeah. Let me see what you're saying. Yes. Thank you. I'm a little rusty, a little tired too, because it's like I could have slept through the power outage, but for some reason I kept like anticipating, like, when is it going to come back on so I can continue listening to my YouTube videos, and it never came back on. And so it controls the Wi-Fi, so I didn't get my sleep like I normally do. So I'm a little rusty. Oh, look at the wilted flower emoji. Reminds me of that song. Oh my God, right. I love that song by Aretha Franklin. A rose is still a rose. And that song, oh, I got chills, goosebumps. That song is so applicable to this whole case. Pentagram can represent rituals to move up in the industry. It sure can. Now, this is the one card that can represent that ritualistic type of scenario going on that some people were picking up on. I mean, at first I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because I was like, well, he's into the macabre and the morbid kind of aesthetic for his how he puts himself out there for his artistry. But it come to think of it, I'm starting to wonder with this bone card, if he's got souvenirs, so to speak, surrounding what happened to her, if you catch my drift, because the bone card says, I get my reading glasses, leaving something behind. Then the rat card sent me as well. We have the rat card and then the snake card, both of which denotes some sense of betrayal, I suppose, or a growing problem. Let me see. Rat is number 35. Rat, a traitor or untrustworthy person or a disease. Snake is fear, sexual fantasies, or temptations. So they sit underneath. I always like to look at the cards and what cards are in proximity to the main card that I'm looking at. The rat card and snake card are sitting underneath the heart and the flower. Now, she probably, I'm just tapping into her energies, put in like all of her trust into him, like would never dream that she would be in this situation. And he turned on her. Now, of course, these cards can later come out to mean something else. Maybe someone ratting him out, so to speak, or him feeling like someone is a snake, or feeling like she was going to betray him. Because I say that in one of the live streams that people captured when she was in it, and she always will wear kind of hoodies or try to hide herself, but some kind of mention of Epstein or something like that. I can't remember the exact verbiage that was said, but someone in the chat had implied that you a little young, what's going on here? And so she said something, and I could just imagine that as he's starting to grow in his, his what is it? His business, his artistry, his reach, his celebrity, because he was about to go on a world tour when all this broke. That became a threat to him. Not to mention, I feel like there was like maybe she was like probably like saying like I'll rat you out. I'll say what it is, because maybe they got into it. They're young. I don't know. We'll see. And it's sitting next to the water card, which is like a highly emotional situation, theoretically. But also water could be some element of water is involved. It may be hiding certain key evidence. So water, card number 18, purity, change, life, subconscious thoughts, or mysterious feelings. But I also add to it like a highly emotional situation. And then the next cards, we got defiance, aggression, fearful. I think he was fearful. I think his team was fearful. I think that over time, maybe he showed up as callous, or he perceived her as showing up as callous. We have abandonment issues. Could she have had abandonment issues? Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But could he have as well? Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And then boredom. I want to discuss real quick about the boredom card. Boredom, I could see someone her age, like he's going to do tours and she's not always able to go. She's getting bored and making it vocal. He might be getting bored with her. Remember I said the flower has a shelf life when you have cut flowers versus ones that are planted and they grow and all this and that. There was a shelf life and he got bored. So that's what I take from that. Y'all let me know what you think. The next cards are my murder mystery cards. I love this deck, and may the creator rest in peace. She's an amazing soul, an amazing reader of these types of cases and things. But nevertheless, I have this deck, and the first card, the white one's at the bottom. Let me show you. This crime may be solved by DNA testing or other scientific methods. The next card, rage or extreme anger was a motive. That could be what was ultimately that got her, right? But there was other motives as well, as we saw with that pentagram card. Then the next card, surveillance cameras provide important clues. Let's stop there for a moment. So this fool is in a Tesla, not a jalopy truck that doesn't have any kind of data on it or tracking other than the speedometer. He got a whole surveillance situation going on with this vehicle. Not to mention the surveillance cameras that are probably on the properties surrounding his rental properties in California. Not to mention any surveillance cameras of them two together, which we saw clips and bits. Not to mention just them live streaming together. We are heavily surveillanced, or in a heavily surveillance time in history. It is getting increasingly difficult to get away with crimes like this, especially when you're done. Sorry, let's call a spade a spade. The last card here says additional evidence at the scene may be discovered that we don't know about yet. Okay? I apologize for the background noise. It's just easier for him to chit chat on the phone long distance than coming here and bother me. So if you hear background noises, my apologies. All right, let me stop there for a moment. The bone card. He's the type that will wear the bones as a necklace. I know, girl. Just vomit, vomit, vomit. I saw that live stream. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's got, it's his whole aesthetic. And it's like, on one hand, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Some of us go through our dark phases. Some people do goth. Some people are, like, oh, I'm into dark things. I went through a shadowy phase when I was a teen, and not really in my early 20s, but when I was a teen, I was like, oh, I read dark poetry and I'm like morose and sad and all that stuff. So I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But now with all this coming out, I'm like, I don't know. It's a tattle Tesla. Oh my God, we got to use that. It is a tattle Tesla. I mean, it's heavily like it's cameras all around. There's all this tracking data that it produces, and even your cell phones. And I wonder what he was Googling. Like, I wonder what he was Googling, right? And he drove from Los Angeles County to a remote part of Santa Barbara County. I mean, that's like 2.5 hours away, if I'm not mistaken. And you want to go to a remote area. I mean, obviously he couldn't really, even in a remote area in Los Angeles County, probably somebody might walk up on you. So I understand why you got to go remote. He didn't get very far. So it's going to look suspect that you leave Los Angeles and then you go on up to Santa Barbara. Just not bright. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So I'm just going to highlight some of the cards we have here. Set up or staged. This card can mean I'm going to go through all the cards, but this one's still I'm still processing what this card could mean. Maybe if you in the chat or in the comment section later, you watch this video, let me know what you think this card means. I have some ideas. It could mean law enforcement setting up and staging everything, just setting it up so somebody falls into the trap. It could also be him performing and staging this whole thing to make it look away. And we got local, but I'm going to get to this alibi card, because in my reading on part 1, I was like, one of the things I mentioned was the alibi. It could be the alibi for him, David, or it could be the suspect. It could be suspect or suspects. At first glance, it looks like they have an alibi, but then when you closely inspect it, it's not. It is not. It is quite the opposite. And now this weekend, we are starting to see, oh yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem. So if she allegedly died in spring, and maybe even earlier. We don't know yet. Where were you, David, allegedly? Where was your accomplice? We know you were on tour in September, but what about in spring? Going up to Santa Barbara? Where were you? So the alibi card is interesting to me, and it was interesting to me back then. I think I did that reading September 18th. Let me look. Hold on. There she is. I think it was September 18th I did that reading. I always like to date my readings. If you all do these kind of readings, I encourage you, no matter actually what kind of readings you do, it's always nice to memorialize when you did it. You know, some of us do journaling and, you know, you date it. So there's that. Yeah, I recorded this Thursday, September 18th, 2025 at 12:45 a.m. I like to do my readings during like the witching hour, if you will. These type of readings. And it's the only time I get peace and quiet around these parts. Okay, accident. I was worried about that card where they were going to be like, oh, accidental OD, or she did this to herself. I was worried about that. But I'm so glad this weekend it was like I felt vindicated. Like, Now look at the rural or country card. I have to be honest, I didn't know how to read it. I just was like, I don't know. Maybe I know he had property in Texas. Maybe there's key evidence in Texas. That could be the case as well. But now I'm seeing that this is more so speaking about this whole Santa Barbara business. Missing and the greed card. The greed is twofold for me. There's the greed of money and wanting to protect his assets. Clearly, he did that because he moved his real estate, his titles and things of that nature to his mom's name. But there's this greed of wanting to probably control her. There's this greed of once she's found, still wanting to earn money. Ugh. And the missing card over the government and military card, do you notice that red stuff on the hand? To me, I felt like we as a community and a society failed her, and particularly law enforcement. Yes, people could say her family failed her too, because we know that she was coming back and forth from David's allegedly to her families, and they weren't always reporting back to police that she came back. But I can understand how that all played out. But more importantly, like law enforcement who was investigating her missing persons cases, you knew the man's name, you knew he was an adult, and there needs to be more, not just in Celeste's case, but when you have a runaway who's consistently running away, we need to do more intervention about that. Why are children running away all the time? Now, there's no judgment. I'm not blaming Celeste for what happened to her. Once upon a time, my family will tell you, I kind of ran away myself when I think I was 17. My family moved from the San Francisco Bay Area in 1996. I was 16 years old, and we moved to Central Valley, Sacramento. I hated it. I absolutely hated Sacramento when we first moved there. So I made a decision, an adult decision. I was going to run away and I was going to do what I want to do. Didn't last long, but I did it a few times. My parents they knew where I was, and they didn't report me missing because I would call them and be like, I'm fine. I'm at so-and-so's house. It wasn't a full-on runaway, but they couldn't quite grab me. They couldn't quite grab me and get me back. I eventually came back, but there's no judgment there, but there needs to be more intervention. And so in a way, it's like there is some red stuff on our hands. I don't know. That's how I took that. We also have another motive monetary gain card. And that could go to that pentagram meaning just that you were talking about as well. Heavy speculation. Oh, there was heavy speculation. He's paying off her family. Could be not. He didn't do it. Somebody's framing him. He did it. He did this. He did that. She had she may have OD'd. She did this. She did that. So there's a lot of heavy speculation. This is a high profile case. And so with that being said, we have to be very discerning of what information we read and what we believe and what we disseminate. To be responsible people, right? When we follow these cases. There's a lot that looks believable, some things that are panning out to be true, some things are panning out not to be true. And so it's natural for human beings to speculate, but we have to be careful. It is a high profile case, so it's to be expected, right? But we have to be responsible adults with it. Boat, when I saw this card right here, I thought flight risk for some reason. In that deck, in my my little, not little, it's 180 cards. I have a flight risk card. My Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. That. But I don't know. So now, knowing that he took his behind in spring to Santa Barbara, now it depends on what remote part of the county he was in. Was he on the coastal side where maybe he discarded things in the ocean, or was he near a body of water? When I first saw this card, I just immediately thought he has the means to get away if we're not careful. And I wonder if all of her body was intact. I hate to even say that. In the frunk of the vehicle, I wonder if there are pieces that are not there. I'm pretty sure there was, because they did say she was, sorry y'all, decapitated. So I don't know, right? They said she was in a bad state and she was thawing out. So it leads me to wonder, where's the rest of her? Alone, I just took it as it's just her as the sole victim. But look at aiding and abetting. 2 people here, and swamp, watery land area, or a swampy, messy situation. We have fire, forest, and out of town. Now, there's a national forest. I forgot the name of the national forest in Santa Barbara County. And I think there were fires in that area. So I was like, I wonder if there's been evidence that's been burnt, either locally in Los Angeles County with him, in Texas with him allegedly, all alleged, or in this area where it says out of town. Out of town would be Santa Barbara, or also Texas. We have con man and missing. There's another cards in later pictures I'll show you all in a moment, where there's a fraud con man card, and I still don't know exactly what that is meaning. I am the first to admit when I know something clearly and I intuitively feel it and I say it, and there's times it's a question mark. When I'm doing those readings, I haven't usually done a pre-reading. I'm interpreting those readings at 2 a.m. with y'all, with the camera going. I don't always have the answers right at the front of my mind. So I have to sit with the cards and be like, what does that mean? Missing person is a key thing here. And look, there is another swamp card from a different true crime deck that I have. We have man. We have the S card. Someone could potentially down the line threaten or has threatened to take their own life, or say that she may have wanted to do that, or some family members may be this way. And then we have photos. Burning maybe of evidence, photographic evidence, could be. Secrets, cover up, and withholding information. Look at those 3 people that stood out to me when we did this reading. Internet messaging, social media. Interestingly, this weekend, they came out and was like, oh, the not searches, but like the data of your social media. You know, when they say you check in on Facebook, I don't know if you can check in anymore. I don't check in. I don't do that anymore, but they track. Social media is tracking your little footprints. Your phone is tracking. If you have a smartwatch, that's tracking. Your vehicles are tracking. So I thought that was interesting. Specifically, they mentioned that. Also, it could be what happened on social media. He was live streaming with her. Brilliant. September, all this came out, plus her birthday was in September. Northeast and then north. So actually, Santa Barbara, where I think he may have gone, was north. And I don't know if it was northeast or north. I think it was more northwest, to be honest, but it was north. Santa Barbara's a little bit north of Los Angeles County. We also have here DV, or physical abuse. And whenever I get a card like this and you see the bruising, I think of if they would have found her a long time ago, they may have seen marks around her neck, allegedly. Bridge, betrayal, long hair. I wonder if a female is also helping. I don't know. I feel like a male presence was helping him, but I wonder if someone else with long hair, doesn't have to be a female, I guess. Feel like a female, but you know. Impulse. Young people are impulsive, generally speaking. Okay, I wanted to do like a general timing. And what's interesting about this 9 to 12 weeks card, so 9 to 12 weeks, I think from 12 weeks was from September. Let me check. Hold on. Oh, 9 to 12 weeks from August 2025, before he started his little tour, was November 23rd, 2025. So yesterday. So all this is coming about. So 9 to 12 weeks from August. And here we are. Case is now going in a strong new trajectory. Patience is needed, friends. That card is just saying that even though it seems like a slam dunk, it's not. Vindication. Who's going to be vindicated in this? Will it be him, David, allegedly? Will it be a alleged suspect? Will it be us, the public? I don't know. Will it be her family members? That remains to be seen. And then yet again, we have a card speaking about control or domination. So I'm going to check here for a moment, see where we're at. Yeah, as a constant runaway, they just stopped caring to keep up with their status, it feels. Exactly. That's what happened too. But if shaking my head, but if you're determined as a teen, you're going to do what you want to. I see all sides. Exactly. Me too. And that's why I was like, well, I'm 45 years old. I was a teen once. I was a very headstrong teen at that, very rebellious. I was going to do what I want to do. And I remember my dad was like, on one of the calls, he tracked me down in one of my friends' houses. He's like, you come back here now and you get here. And he was like, you're stressing your mother out. And that was the one thing that made me like, I was like, oh, I don't want to stress my mom out. That's the last thing I want to do. So I dragged myself on back home, got on the Greyhound bus. For those who are outside of our country, Greyhound goes city to city. What do you say? City to city or state to state. And I came home. But yeah, we're going to do what we want to do. And I do see all sides. I see the parents who get tired. I see law enforcement saying, oh, it's just some runaway. But at the end of the day, with children, we just have to be invested. So we have here, the interpretation sometimes changes the more you look at your readings. That happens with me, especially in hindsight, for sure. Very good point. It does. It does change, you know? So that's why I like to review the cards and see how everything's unfolding. And you're like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh my goodness. Okay. I thought it was this. And there's nothing wrong with looking back and seeing that, right? In my opinion, no matter what kind of readings you do political readings, you do celebrity readings, you do love readings. It's nothing wrong with looking back, right? So to that end, let me see. Let me move that. So the next cards that I'm showing you are the tarot and oracle readings. And I'm just going to share some of the questions and then we'll wrap up. So how I do my tarot readings is I like to ask questions and then I timestamp those videos. So that way we can just go right to it. We won't do that today, but they're timestamped in case you want to like look back later. And I ask a question, then I see what cards come to that question, and then I interpret them. So then we go here. We have here, let's see, question number 1. Let me do this. Question number 1 is, what does David allegedly know? So we got this picture here. The tarot, we had 3 of Swords, the reverse, Daughter of Earth, and the reverse, it looks like, is it 8 of Water, 8 of Cups? Oh, he knew a lot. And then we have this picture from the Modern Life Tarot, but it's really more like an oracle deck. But it's got this, it's got the revolving door, and then it's got browsing history. How wild is that? Okay. What is his alleged involvement? We got the Hanged Man, Major Arcana, right? Father of Fire, which is the King of Wands, and then the Six of Water, which is Six of Cups. And the Gaslight, oh, there's been some gaslighting going on. Regret or remorse, and Bones. Now, I interpret that, oh yeah, he allegedly cut, he all up in the mix with these cards. The next question we have is anyone in his entourage in the know or involved? Oh yeah, they are. So, oh yeah, they are. And they're going to be singing. And some people would interpret the government and military like, oh, maybe there is some element of some law enforcement in the know or involved. Or it could just simply be law enforcement knows exactly how these person or persons are moving. And they help to try to eliminate and crush the situation. This is a little cherub angel here that this monster claws is crushing. Then we have this person moving like boxes, so moving things around, moving the Tesla around, allegedly. And then we have dating, sitting underneath the Mother of Water. That's why I'm like, I wonder if there's a female involved. I wonder. I could be wrong. Could be the mom, allegedly. Could be. Not necessarily dating him, but I don't know. It could be not related to this dating card, but it just is something a little to note. What was her alleged cause of death? This is this set of cards here. We have a pill here that says calm, 9 of air, which is 9 of swords. It says cruelty. And look at this, all dissected. Remember how I said I went to the university and I got to see cadavers in various stages of decomposition and dismemberment? Yes. Look, we have here, is that 9 of earth, which says the keyword gain. 9 of earth is 9 of pentacles next to the father of earth, king of pentacles. Crossing borders, it could be state borders, or it could be county borders, city borders, and burying something. What did they bury? Drama filled, law enforcement, and tied up and bound. Again, controlling, stifling, preventing breath, right? Question number 5, how does she end up in the Tesla and for how long? So this is what's interesting to me. We've got the Son of Earth, Ace of Earth, the Sun, con man or fraud, this fidget spinner. Hold on one second. Let me tell him 1 second too. Yeah, I can't. Okay, hold on 1 second. How do I mute myself on here? Let me see. Oh, he's being quiet now. Okay. So I end up pulling timing cards in another part of the reading. So I don't know if they necessarily spoke to this situation. I hope you can hear me. But let me move this. We have lured maybe to go somewhere, to be with him in the first place, lured to keep her there, and lured to ending up where she ended up and ultimately dying. And then we have father next to justice and karma. Now, from what I understand, David's dad has a legal background and legal connections. That doesn't, on its face, it doesn't mean anything, I suppose, other than his dad he's highly connected, like in the legal world. But on the other hand, he probably could help make things go away. Allegedly, all alleged. Okay. Let me see. Question number 6. What will be David's attorney defense strategy? Look at this, the LARPer. So somebody cosplaying. Oh, this is just him, performing. This is him playing around. We've got the BS artist, the bullshit artist. Missing persons. Oh, she's a missing person. She must have encountered someone who was a nefarious person. Look, or retaliation. Someone's retaliating and trying to make him seem like he did it. They're framing him, that energy. So that just looking at these oracle cards for time's sake, I won't go into the tarot card meanings, but just looking at I can see where their defense is going to go. She was missing, there's no way to tie down her time of death, her cause of death. This is him being performative when he's talking, he's got the blood splattered on his face and he's doing all that morbid stuff in the romantic homicide song and all of that, right? Then question, let's see, number 7, what is behind the shift in media focus? When I recorded this video, this reading, it was on October 5th, 2025. And so by that point, the shift had started to move towards, look, Mother of Earth, her mom, then we have the Hermit. Why are they being so quiet? Why didn't they have control over her? We have the 8 of Earth. And the key word on this tarot card, 8 of Earth, is circumspection. Why didn't the mom control her? Why are they being so quiet? The background is her parents or her family is immigrants. I don't know their immigration status, but as y'all know, there's been a lot of stuff going down with ICE. So even in California, there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of crackdowns. So there could be that going on. Allegedly, I don't know for sure, but I know that her parents or her family is immigrants. So there could be some of that going on. They probably don't even know what to say. And all these media hounds coming around, trying to interview them, they're probably scared. And they probably feel immense guilt for not protecting her. It's a mixed bag. And a lot of people judging, like, you should have did this, you should have did that. Okay. So we have here festival goer. She was living that life, That's how they want to say. Maybe it was drug related with this needle here. That's what caused her to delete. You see the delete button? And that she's the cause of this, or her family didn't protect her. Trying to shift that blame away from him. And it worked for a hot second. But then people started realizing, what is the proximate cause of why Celeste isn't here today? All right, so now we move on to question number 8. What is coming up next in the investigation? Father of Air, King of Swords, 5 of Cups, 5 of Water, disappointments. And for me, what was a recent disappointment is it's looking like we're not going to have a definitive cause of death or even really a time of death, which is upsetting because I know the uphill battle that can pose for prosecuting this case, right? Mother of Fire. Now, what's interesting about Mother of Fire is King or Queen of Wands represents the season of spring or the timing of 13 weeks for me when I do timing, right? So it's like, oh, look what came out. It's looking like spring. Somebody made a little trip. Look at the oracle cards here. We've got the cards. We've got this little, it says the conspiracy theorist, but it shows a map and it shows, it's like what you would think with like old school policing where they got the bulletin board and the thumbtacks and the lines or strings going this and that, and they're piecing it all together. And then we have this meat card, like a slab of meat, just, oh God. We kind of are getting the understanding now. The butcher, right? The butcher. Not that she just sat in a Tesla for months and months, or that she sat somewhere and then ended up in a Tesla for months and months. She was frozen. Yeah. Distraction or diversion. Manipulation. Totally what was going on since I did that reading in October 5th, 2025. Information and mother. Placing blame on her mom and her loved ones. But maybe this card is meaning somebody else's mama allegedly may be implicated, or somebody who is a mother. And then we've got these timing cards, 10 to 12 months. Next month, remember, when I recorded this, it was October 5th. It is now November. It is next month. Patience is needed came up again. Next month, we've got finally some movement, allegedly, according to TMZ. Midnight. I bet you he was hightailing it on the highway from LA County to Santa Barbara County. Hightailing it. Gone. Trying to get rid of evidence or doing something he had no business doing. Just saying. 6 months to a year. If we're looking at spring, I think spring, if we say early spring, for example, March, April, that's like 8-9 months back from today. So that makes sense. 6 months to a year going back. But these cards, 10 to 12 months, could represent we're going to be in this for the long haul. Y'all, patience is needed. But I am relieved to know that law enforcement, like I had hoped, like I had felt, they're doing what they need to do, right? That's what I felt. That's what I felt. And we're just going to keep rallying around Celeste. We're going to keep speaking her name out. We're going to keep demanding justice. We don't want this to just die off. We want to be her voice because maybe her family right now can't be her voice for whatever reason, or maybe they choose not to. I choose to be her voice. This is not how a young girl should have to end up. And people just move on with their life and keep making money off of her death. It's not right. So, yeah, let me stop sharing. Here I am. Why is it not showing me? Hold on, friends. I don't know how to make me come back. Hold on. Well, anyways, in his videos, he constantly makes the hanged man pose if you slow it down. Really? Now that's news to me. I did not know that. I did not know that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Right? I'm like, I'm recording. I'm like, why do you pick? He never talks on the phone. I'm like, and then as soon as I come in here, he's yammering away. And I can't help but feel immensely bothered by it. Immensely, but at least it keeps him busy and out of my office. So there's that. There's that. I don't know why. Let me see if I take the camera off. Why it won't let me show my face. It's so weird. I'm trying to do, anyways, I don't know. Y'all see me on here. He's also in March Aries, spring birthday. Interesting. I didn't know David's birthday. I knew hers. I knew Celeste was in September. I did not know he was a March Aries at that. Huh. Interesting. He was busy, wasn't he? So yeah, friends, there you have it. That is my cards analysis. I just want to thank you all for joining me. I'm not sure what happened to my camera setting or why it's not showing me anymore. Let me see if I can. There I am. Different camera. That's fine. We're going to wrap this thing up. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for watching the past videos I did on Celeste's case. It means a lot to me. Let me see if I can make me not like, oh God, I pray for justice for her. And I'm going to be following this case closely. I don't think I'm going to be doing any readings right now because I feel like if I go back and look at the past readings I've done, I've got already a good chunk of information to carry us through at least 10 to 12 months out, right? Based on the timing cards. And y'all keep me posted. If you hear any updates, share them with me. I'm definitely curious. You know, I'm out of the country, so I don't always get things like in real time. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hanging with me this entire time with all my tech issues. And yes, from one mom of a teenager to another, we have, you know, this hits us hard. Like it hits us hard. I keep looking at the other camera. It really tears me up that this happened to her. And if you're an empath, you can't help but to feel a way, you know, literally feel a way about what happened to her. And I'm just devastated. So y'all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. We will be covering other cases, I'm sure. But yeah, this was a doozy of a case. All right, friends. Do me a favor on your way out, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And don't forget to leave me a comment down below to share what your intuitive hits are. Okay, and happy Thanksgiving if I don't get a chance to say that to you all this week, and my peeps in the States. For those who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. And y'all take good care of yourselves. Bye for now.